The forbidden warning. The crystal towers of Xerion Prime stretched toward the crimson sky like frozen lightning, their surfaces reflecting the light of 3 distant suns. Deep within the largest spire, the Council of 7 Worlds gathered in their ancient chamber. Representatives from across the galaxy's most powerful civilizations sat in a perfect circle, their varied forms creating a bizarre assembly of scales, chitin, and synthetic flesh. Elder Kythera moved slowly toward the center of the chamber, her crystalline form humming with age-old harmonics. The ethereal had lived for over 2,000 years, and her translucent body carried the weight of memories that most beings could never comprehend. Today, she carried the heaviest burden of all, a warning that no one wanted to hear. The chamber fell silent as her presence commanded attention. Commander Zephix of the Draconian Empire shifted his massive reptilian bulk, golden scales catching the ambient light. The insectoid Queen Vexhai clicked her mandibles in barely contained impatience, while the synthetic collective's representative, Unit 7742, processed data streams with mechanical precision. The other representatives maintained their usual positions, of barely concealed arrogance. Council members, Kythera began, her voice like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. I bring disturbing news from the Outer Rim territories. Our long-range scouts have detected a species we hoped never to encounter again. Commander Zephix laughed, the sound rumbling through his throat like grinding stone. Elder, your people see threats in every shadow. What primitive species could possibly concern the combined might of our 7 civilizations? Kythera's form dimmed with sorrow. They call themselves humans. They originate from a small blue world in the Sol system, approximately 27,000 light-years from our core territories. 3 of their generation ships have been detected crossing into the contested zone near the Andromeda Gate. The chamber erupted in various sounds of amusement. Queen Vexhai's chittering laughter mixed with Unit 7742's electronic approximation of mirth. The aquatic delegate, Ambassador Reef Singer, produced bubbling sounds that passed for dismissive commentary. Among his kind, humans, scoffed General Thorgan of the mechanized clans, his cybernetic implants glowing brighter as he accessed his tactical databases. Our preliminary scans show them to be unremarkable. Bipedal mammals with no natural weapons, no armor, plating, and technology centuries behind our most basic systems, their ships barely achieve light-speed capability. Elder Kythera's crystalline branches began to resonate with a warning frequency that made several delegates uncomfortable. You see only surface data, General. You do not understand what lies beneath their apparent weakness. Then enlighten us, Ancient One, Commander Zephix said with mock reverence. What makes these hairless apes so special? The Elder's form pulsed with painful memories. My people encountered their kind before in a distant galaxy, during what they call their Great Expansion period. It was 3 centuries ago, when I was young and foolish enough to believe that superior technology guaranteed victory. Unit 7742's optical sensors focused on the Elder. Please elaborate on this historical data, Elder Kythera. Our records show no previous contact with human species. Kythera moved closer to the center of the circle, her form casting strange shadows that seemed to writhe with their own life. We thought them easy prey, a primitive species struggling to establish their first interstellar colonies. Their ships were slow, their weapons crude, their tactics predictable. We decided to test their resolve. And you defeated them easily, I assume. Queen Vexhai clicked impatiently. We won every battle, Kythera replied quietly. Every single engagement for the first 50 years. We destroyed their colonies, scattered their fleets, captured their leaders. By every measure of military doctrine, we had achieved total victory. Ambassador Reef Singer's gills fluttered with curiosity. Yet you speak as if this was somehow a defeat. The Elder's harmonics took on a melancholy tone that resonated through the chamber walls. Because it was. We had defeated the humans, but we had not destroyed them. And in defeating them, we had done something far worse. We had educated them. General Thorgan's mechanical parts whirred as he processed this statement. Educated them in what way? In the art of fighting superior enemies, Kythera replied. Every battle taught them something new about our tactics, our technology, our weaknesses. Every defeat showed them another way to adapt, to improvise, to overcome obstacles that should have been insurmountable. Commander Zefix's golden eyes narrowed. All species learn from defeat, Elder. That is nothing unique. Kythera's form brightened with urgent energy. No, Commander, you do not understand. Humans do not simply learn from defeat. They transform it into victory. They take every advantage you have and find a way to turn it against you. They study your strengths until they become weaknesses. The Elder paused, accessing memories that still caused her pain after centuries. In the second 50 years of our conflict, something changed. The humans we faced were not the same species we had easily defeated before. Their ships moved differently, fought differently, thought differently. They had become something new, something specifically designed to fight us. Impossible, Queen Vexhai snapped. Evolution does not work that rapidly. Not biological evolution, Kythera corrected. Technological and tactical evolution. Humans adapt their tools, their strategies, their entire approach to warfare with a speed that defies conventional understanding. They do not simply build better weapons. They build weapons specifically designed to counter your weapons. They do not just improve their tactics. They create tactics that turn your tactics into liabilities. Unit 7742's processors worked at maximum capacity. This suggests an unprecedented rate of technological advancement. Please provide specific examples. Kythera's form pulsed with the rhythm of old grief. In the beginning, our energy shields were impenetrable to their primitive kinetic weapons. By the 70th year, they had developed projectiles that passed through energy barriers as if they did not exist. When we adapted our shields, they created new forms of ammunition. When we changed our hull composition, they invented new metallurgy techniques. You're describing an arms race, General Thorgan observed. All conflicts involve technological advancement. This was not advancement, Kythera replied firmly. This was metamorphosis. Each human generation became exponentially more capable than the last. They shared knowledge across their entire species instantly. Every lesson learned by one human became available to all humans. Every innovation was immediately integrated into their collective capability. Commander Zefix leaned forward, his massive form casting shadows across the chamber. What was the final outcome of this conflict, Elder? The question hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Kythera's harmonics fell to their lowest frequencies. Peace. After 150 years of constant warfare, we negotiated peace. You mean you achieved victory through diplomatic channels, Ambassador Reefsinger suggested hopefully. I mean we surrendered, Kythera said simply. The chamber exploded into chaos. Representatives shouted in multiple languages, their various forms of communication creating a cacophony of disbelief. Commander Zefix roared his protest while Queen Vexhai's chittering reached painful frequencies. General Thorgan's systems sparked with overload warnings. Silence. Kythera's harmonics suddenly amplified to a level that forced every being in the chamber to cover their auditory organs. When quiet returned, she continued in a voice heavy with ancient shame. We surrendered because we finally understood the truth. Humans do not fight to conquer. They fight to survive, and they will never ever stop fighting as long as they perceive a threat to their survival. We could defeat them 1,000 times, and they would rise 1,001 times, each time stronger and more dangerous than before. Unit 7742's optical array focused intently on the Elder. What specific capabilities made them so formidable? Kythera's form dimmed as she accessed the most painful memories. Their adaptability was unlimited. When we attacked their colonies, they developed mobile populations. When we destroyed their ships, they built vessels that could separate into smaller, harder-to-target units. When we tried to cut their supply lines, they learned to manufacture everything they needed from raw materials found in space. But most terrifying of all, she continued, was their refusal to accept defeat as permanent. To humans, defeat is simply information, data to be analyzed, understood, and overcome. They do not mourn their losses. They study them. They do not fear their enemies. They dissect them. General Thorgan's mechanical components clicked thoughtfully. Are you suggesting that humans are inherently superior warriors? No, Kythera replied. I am telling you that humans are inherently superior learners. They can become superior warriors, superior engineers, superior strategists, or superior diplomats depending on what the situation requires. They are the most adaptable species in known space. Commander Zefix rose to his full, intimidating height. Even if your tale has some truth to it, Elder, these particular humans are isolated and primitive. Our combined fleets could crush their generation ships before they even realize they are under attack. Kythera's harmonics took on a warning tone that made the chamber walls vibrate. That is exactly the thinking that led to our century and a half of warfare. You see weakness where you should see potential. You see primitiveness where you should see adaptability waiting to be triggered. Queen Vexhi's mandibles clicked with irritation. What do you propose, Elder? That we simply allow these humans to establish colonies in contested space without challenge? I propose that you remember the lessons of history, Kythera replied. If you must interact with humans, do so as equals, not as conquerors. Make them allies rather than enemies. Because if you choose to make them enemies, you will discover that they are very, very good at being enemies. Ambassador Reefsinger's gills fluttered with diplomatic concern. Surely there must be some way to gauge their capabilities without triggering a full conflict. Kythera's form brightened with desperate hope. Perhaps, but any test must be conducted with the understanding that you are not testing their current capabilities. You are testing their potential for growth, and that potential is infinite. The chamber fell into contemplative silence. Each representative processed the elder's words through the lens of their own species' experiences and prejudices. The weight of decision hung heavy in the recycled air. Finally, Commander Zefix spoke for the majority. Your concerns are noted, Elder Kythera, but they seem based on ancient fears rather than current realities. These humans represent a potential security risk that cannot be ignored. We will conduct limited engagement protocols to assess their true capabilities. Kythera's harmonics fell to their saddest frequencies. Then you have learned nothing from the wisdom of ages. You will test the humans, and in testing them, you will teach them how to defeat you. History repeats itself because beings refuse to learn from it. As the council session ended and representatives filed out in small groups, discussing tactical possibilities and resource allocation, Elder Kythera remained in the chamber's center. Her crystalline form pulsed with the slow rhythm of profound sorrow. She had delivered the warning as her duty demanded, but like all warnings about humans, it would be ignored until it was too late to matter. In the depths of space, 3 human generation ships continued their steady journey toward the contested zone, their crews unaware that they were about to become the subjects of an alien experiment that would change the course of galactic history. The price of ignorance, the human generation ship New Horizon drifted silently through the void, its massive hull scarred by centuries of interstellar travel. Captain Maria Santos stood on the observation deck, watching distant stars wheel slowly past as her ship maintained its course toward the Kepler colony zone. After 300 years of travel, her people were finally approaching their new home. The ship carried 50,000 colonists in various states of suspended animation, along with 5,000 active crew members who maintained the vessel and prepared for planetary settlement. Their technology was functional but primitive by galactic standards: fusion engines, basic energy shields, and kinetic weapons that relied more on mass and velocity than sophisticated targeting systems. Captain Santos had no way of knowing that her ship had been under alien surveillance for the past 6 months. High above the galactic plane, a draconian stealth cruiser tracked every movement while its sensors analyzed human technology, communication patterns, and defensive capabilities. Commander Zefix reviewed the data from his command throne, golden scales reflecting the bridge's ambient lighting. The human vessel was exactly as primitive as their preliminary scans had suggested. Its energy output barely registered on their sensors. Its weapons were laughably outdated, and its crew moved with the slow efficiency of beings who had never faced real danger. "Tactical assessment complete, Commander," reported Lieutenant Vixis from the sensor station. "The human vessel poses no significant threat to our operations. Their shields could not withstand even our secondary weapon systems." Zefix nodded with satisfaction. Perhaps Elder Cathara's warnings had been nothing more than the paranoid fantasies of an ancient mind. These humans appeared to be as harmless as their initial evaluations suggested. "Initiate contact protocols," Zefix ordered. "Let us see how they respond to superior authority." The communication array activated, sending a transmission directly to the New Horizons bridge. Captain Santos was reviewing colonization schedules when Lieutenant Jackson's voice crackled over the intercom. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from an unknown vessel. They're demanding our immediate surrender." Santos felt ice form in her stomach. Humanity's journey to the stars had been peaceful so far, with no contact from alien civilizations. The possibility of hostile first contact had always existed, but facing it now, so close to their destination, seemed like cosmic cruelty. "Put them through to the main screen," she ordered. Commander Zefix's imposing form materialized on the bridge display, his reptilian features and golden scales creating an impression of predatory power. When he spoke, his voice carried the authority of a being accustomed to absolute obedience. "I am Commander Zefix of the Draconian Imperial Fleet. You have entered space claimed by the Seven World Alliance without authorization. Your vessel will surrender immediately for inspection and processing." Captain Santos drew herself to her, full height, drawing on reserves of courage she hoped she possessed. "I am Captain Maria Santos of the Earth vessel New Horizon. We are peaceful colonists seeking to establish settlements in unclaimed space. Our star charts show this region as uninhabited." Zefix's laugh was like grinding stone. "Your charts are obsolete, human. This space belongs to superior civilizations. You will surrender your vessel and submit to Alliance authority, or you will be destroyed." Santos felt the weight of 55,000 human lives pressing down on her shoulders. Her ship's weapons were no match for the alien vessel's obvious technological superiority, but surrender meant slavery or death for her people. There had to be another option. "Commander Zefix, we have no quarrel with your alliance. We seek only a place to live in peace. Surely there is room in the galaxy for both our peoples." "Peace is submission to proper authority," Zefix replied coldly. "You have 30 seconds to begin surrender procedures." Santos made the hardest decision of her life. No. The word hung in space between them like a thrown gauntlet. Zefix's golden eyes narrowed with surprise. In his experience, primitive species always chose survival over defiance when faced with overwhelming force. "You refuse direct orders from the Seven World Alliance?" "I refuse to surrender my people to slavery," Santos replied firmly. "If you want this ship, you'll have to take it." Zefix's surprise gave way to amusement. "Very well, human. You have chosen your fate." The Draconian cruiser's weapon systems activated with lethal precision. Energy beams lanced through space, striking the New Horizons shields with devastating force. The human vessel's defensive barriers lasted exactly 17 seconds before collapsing completely. But Captain Santos had not wasted those precious seconds. Even as her ship died around her, she was recording everything. Every energy signature, every weapon frequency, every tactical pattern. The ship's computer banks absorbed data about their attacker, even as explosive decompression tore through the hull. "Emergency transmission to Earth Command," Santos shouted over the sound of alarms and breaking metal. "Unknown alien species, hostile intentions, transmitting all tactical data. Repeat, transmitting all tactical data." The quantum communication array managed to complete its transmission before the next weapon strike destroyed the bridge. "Captain HFY." Santos died at her post, but her final act ensured that humanity would not face their next encounter unprepared. Commander Zefix watched the debris field expand slowly through space. Chunks of metal and technology scattered in all directions, along with the frozen bodies of humans who had chosen defiance over submission. It had been a textbook demonstration of overwhelming force. "Scan for survivors," he ordered, more from procedure than hope. "No life signs detected, Commander," Lieutenant Vixis reported. "The human vessel has been completely destroyed." Zefix nodded with satisfaction. Perhaps this would serve as an example to other primitive species who encountered the Seven World Alliance. Superior technology and tactics always prevailed over stubborn idealism. But 17 light-years away, Earth's military command centers were receiving Captain Santos's final transmission. The data streams contained detailed information about draconian weapon systems, ship configurations, tactical approaches, and technological capabilities. Within hours, every human colony, research station, and military installation had access to complete intelligence about humanity's first alien enemy. The response was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human civilization transformed overnight from a peaceful colonial expansion into a species-wide war machine. Every factory retooled for military production. Every scientist focused on weapons development. Every engineer studied the alien data for weaknesses to exploit. But most importantly, humanity began to change itself. Dr. Elena Rodriguez led the crash program at the Luna Military Research Facility. The alien weapon signatures showed energy frequencies that human shields could not deflect. Traditional solutions would take decades to develop. Humanity did not have decades. "We can't match their energy output," Rodriguez told the emergency council via holographic conference. "But we don't need to match it. We need to make it irrelevant." Within 6 months, human ships were equipped with experimental quantum displacement shields that didn't block energy weapons, but instead redirected them into folded space dimensions. The technology was theoretical, dangerous, and completely untested in combat conditions. It was also specifically designed to counter draconian weapon systems. Admiral Chen Zhang commanded humanity's new rapid response fleet from the Bridge of the Vengeance, the first ship built using technology reverse-engineered from Captain Santos's final transmission. The vessel looked nothing like traditional human ships. Its hull was angular and predatory, covered in sensor arrays that could detect enemy vessels at unprecedented ranges. "Contact bearing 27 Mark IV, reported Lieutenant Commander Park from the sensor station. "Configuration matches Draconian cruiser class from the New Horizon engagement." Zhang felt cold satisfaction flow through his veins. The aliens had made a crucial mistake when they destroyed the New Horizon. They had shown humanity exactly what they were dealing with. Now humanity would return the favor. "All ships, implement Santos Protocol," Zhang ordered. "Let's show them what humans learned from their lesson." The Draconian cruiser, Dominant Pride, was conducting routine patrol operations in the contested zone when proximity alarms began screaming. Commander Vixis, promoted after his success in destroying the human vessel, rushed to his sensor station in disbelief. "Multiple contacts approaching from Vector 7-9, he reported. "Configuration unknown. Energy signatures. Commander, these readings don't match any known technology." Zefix rose from his command throne, golden scales glinting with anticipation. "More human ships? Excellent, we can finish what we started." But when the enemy vessels resolved on the main screen, Zefix felt the first stirrings of unease. These ships looked nothing like the primitive generation ship they had destroyed months earlier. They moved with predatory grace, their hulls crackling with energy that defied classification. "Incoming transmission," Lieutenant Vexis reported. "Admiral." Zhang's face appeared on the screen, his expression carved from stone. "I am Admiral Chen Zhang of the Human Defense Fleet. You destroyed the New Horizon and murdered 55,000 civilians. Today, you answer for that crime." Zefix laughed, but the sound came out forced. "Human, your species learned nothing from their first lesson. We will destroy you just as easily as we destroyed your predecessor." "You misunderstand," Zhang replied quietly. "We learned everything from that lesson. The question is whether you're capable of learning from yours." The human fleet attacked with precision that defied explanation. Their ships moved in patterns, specifically designed to counter draconian tactics. Their weapons targeted weak points in draconian hull design that should have been unknown to primitive species. Most disturbing of all, their shields rendered draconian energy weapons almost completely ineffective. Zephyx watched in horror as his cruiser's most powerful weapons struck human vessels without causing significant damage. The energy beams simply vanished into dimensional folds that his sensors couldn't track. "How is this possible?" he roared at his tactical officer. "These are the same primitives we destroyed 6 months ago." "No, Commander," Admiral Zhang's voice crackled over the communication channel. "These are the humans that 6 months of total war preparation created. We studied every detail of your attack on the New Horizon. We learned from Captain Santos's sacrifice, and we built these ships specifically to kill yours." The battle lasted 12 minutes. When it ended, the dominant Pride was drifting powerless through space, its engines destroyed and its weapons offline. Zhang's fleet surrounded the crippled vessel like wolves around wounded prey. "You have a choice," Zhang transmitted to the Draconian bridge. "Surrender and return to your alliance with a message, or join your victims in death." Zephyx's golden eyes burned with rage and humiliation. "What message?" "That humanity is no longer primitive, that we learn from every attack, adapt to every threat, and overcome every obstacle, and that the next time any member of your alliance attacks human civilians, we will bring fleets of ships like these to your homeworlds." On Zerion Prime, Elder Cathera felt the harmonic resonance of ancient patterns repeating themselves. She had warned them. She had shared the lessons learned through centuries of painful experience. But like all warnings about humans, it had been ignored until the truth became undeniable. The humans were no longer primitive. They had become something new, something specifically designed to survive in a hostile galaxy. And the Seven World Alliance had created them through the simple act of underestimating their capacity for growth. In the depths of space, Admiral Zhang's fleet began its journey home, carrying proof that humanity would never again be dismissed as harmless. The galaxy had gained a new power, born from tragedy and forged in the fires of total war. Elder Cathera's crystalline form pulsed with the slow rhythm of inevitable prophecy fulfilled. The humans were coming, and this time they came as equals.